Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I have some horrifying and very exciting news. Why are you filming Johnny when I'm...
Good question. I'm like looking there like...
Hey everybody, today I have a special treat for you, a proper in-person debate video. I discovered something horrifying while on my documentary shoot, and that is that the cost of food on this trip has been quadrupled by the fact that I have an effing vegan on my shoot. And to make up for that, Johnny, my assistant cameraman slash whatever you do, I don't even know what I'm paying you to do right now.
Yeah. Just annoy you with buying vegan stuff, basically, and stopping you from eating where you want to eat.
Pretty much. But Johnny has agreed to come on my channel and talk slash debate with me about his disorder. Which...
Okay, I'll pass you on that one for the sake of getting into it, yeah? By the way, she's talking about this disorder, but like she won't eat anywhere that doesn't have gluten-free, and she only wants to eat at places where most of the stuff's gluten as well. So like you'll only eat at places that are basically like Italian, like pancakes, stuff like IHOP, like everything that has gluten, but then she just wants the non-gluten thing. So she goes to the most glutinous menu and then is like, okay, I'll have all of the stuff without gluten, which is basically nothing.
It's been a very complex trip.
Yeah.
Trying to find like this crosshair of John, who's behind the camera right now, other John, who's normal, vegan, and gluten-free. It's been a nightmare.
That's other John.
Oh, he's other John. You're
Okay.
John. Okay.
Well, I actually like John is very chill about this. It's kind of a good job that there's not a third person who's just very awkward to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad enough with the two of us.
Yeah.
I've been losing weight on this fucking trip.
Yeah.
So, I probably should complain more like the two of you.
I don't know how you've lost weight, because I mean, judging what you guys have been eating, like, I don't know how you can possibly lose weight on that, but okay.
Anyways, yes, we're on a documentary shoot. It's been nightmarish, but at least we're going to get a damn good debate out of this, because vegans, they're a problem, and we need to address the vegan problem. But before we get into it, I wanted to give a huge thank you to a new sponsor to this channel, the Epoch Times. If you haven't heard of them, they are a fantastic outlet offering real journalism and breaking news to all of your favorite platforms and devices. They've got original Epoch TV programs like Crossroads, The Larry Elder Show, love that dude, Facts Matter, American Thought Leaders, and award-winning documentaries. Love that there are more alternative documentaries being put out there. Unlike far too many outlets today, the Epoch Times report news that other media are ignoring. They focus on clear, fact-based journalism and do it without the spin or hidden agendas. So basically they let you, the reader, come to your own conclusions. Yeah, what journalism should be, but far too many outlets have forgotten. Despite many attacks from all sides, defamation from the mainstream media, thugs burning of their printing presses, and violent attacks on their journalists, the Epoch Times have continued to dedicate themselves to reporting the truth. And because of this, I'm very happy to be partnering with them to offer you, my viewers, a 2-month subscription for only $1 if you go and check out the link down below in the description or here on screen. I am extremely proud to be partnering with an outlet with real integrity and would absolutely encourage all of my viewers, go check them out and just give them a chance. All right, now back to my conversation with Johnny the vegan. We'll start with why. Just why? Why would you do this to yourself?
Well, I can tell you it's not for climate change. It's not because I want people to eat bugs, which are definitely not vegan. It's none of that nonsense. None of this WEF, like we've all got to change for that. It's purely based upon the idea that we shouldn't cause unnecessary harm to animals, just like we shouldn't cause unnecessary harm to people, that if we don't have to kill something or cause them suffering, then we shouldn't do it. So it's coming from a libertarian non-aggression principle perspective for me.
What if I have to eat bacon?
Can you tell me why you would have to eat bacon?
Because it tastes
Okay,
good.
so because it tastes good, right? Like that is ultimately what the justification for eating meat comes to, is that it tastes good, right? But because something tastes good doesn't justify that you can do harm to another, right? There's many things which are pleasurable to us, right? That you don't just go ahead and do it purely because of your own pleasure. Like you have to take into consideration the effect you're having on the subject.
Well, on a more serious note, I can genuinely say when I eat meat rather than say grains, bread, these kind of things, or even just vegetables, my quality of life drastically improves to the point where my health is completely different. If I eat steak for dinner a week in a row, my energy levels, my quality of life is going to go through the roof compared to if I'm eating.
Have you tried being vegan? Have you tried like eating a vegan diet?
No, but I know people who have, and I know people who have had severe health issues because of
True,
it.
and it is possible, right? Like it is possible to have a vegan diet and to be unhealthy. Like there's no guarantee you're going to be healthy. Like, but if you eat a well-planned vegan diet and you're getting all of your nutrients from, you know, various fruits and vegetables and you're eating a balanced diet, like, and you're getting enough calories, that's another big thing. Is like a lot of people, they go vegan and they think, oh, I can just eat exactly the same amount of portion sizes, but I'm just swapping the meat for plants. Well, they're less calorie dense, so you've got to eat more of them. So you have to increase somewhat the amount you eat. You know, it's not like crazy. It's not like 3 or 4 times the amount, but you've got to eat more food to get the same intake. And if you do it in a well-planned way that you're getting your variety of nutrients, then you can absolutely be vegan. And like for most people, it doesn't take that long. Like a very basic amount of like research is gonna get you there.
I think you can only be vegan, like beyond all of the arguments about non-aggression principle, all of the politics around it, like the genuine reality of being vegan, I think is only something that can happen for first world privileged people. The amount of nutrients that people need to get from vegetables and the amount of variety they have to have and all of these things, like the food that keeps people alive, particularly in third world countries and places where it can be really hard to find nutrient rich vegetables, this kind of stuff, it's going to be meat. Meat is going to be the primary thing giving them, you know, the protein they need to live.
Well, it really depends, right? So like I would agree with you in some certain areas. So like if you are like a Eskimo or something like that, like
99% of their diet is meat. They literally can't grow
because
vegetables.
they can't grow plant. And actually, like a lot of people who live in those communities anyway, they fly in their food anyway. So there's actually very few people who even live in those kind of places that are purely just ice fishing for everything. Like a lot of them do rely upon, you know, very modernized like transit routes and stuff. And you know, with a lot of places like Africa, like a lot of these countries, they actually have very, very predominantly plant-based diets. You know, partly because it's a poverty thing. Like as you have more money, more disposable income, generally we see societies eat more meat. But a lot of them have it culturally as well. They eat plants. You know, places like Ethiopia, they have very predominantly vegan diets naturally, and you know, like it can be a cultural thing.
Ethiopia's doing great.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course you have with some of these places, of course you have like high rates of malnutrition, but you have high rates of malnutrition in places because they have low amounts of money. They can't actually get enough food. They can't get enough calories. There's nothing to say that you couldn't, you know, like vegans as a general like sect of the population, like do very, very well. They score normally very, very high up, if not the best in terms of their health, their overall health. So it's not,
Doesn't it
veganism is not
depend on the person? Like you look at someone like a Michaela Peterson, who literally, she's like, I had severe health issues and depression until I started eating a meat-only diet.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of kind of stories that are on a kind of, you know, an individual basis that people say, oh, well, I had meat and it turned around my diet. But like, it's not borne out in the actual data as to like why that would make a difference. There's nothing that you're getting from saying, okay, I'm only eating meat. There's nothing you can't get there from plants as well. That can.
But if you personally are finding that your like ability to live is so hindered by not eating meat, is that would that within your framework of the non-aggression principle allow someone to go and start eating meat?
I mean, it depends how far you go. Like if you had a person who couldn't physically have a level of like health that is sustainable from eating a vegan diet, and that they're literally getting like progressively less healthy, of course, like I would say that person is justified in eating meat. But I think that, you know, I don't know if that person exists, and if they do, it's going to be an extremely small amount of people. For most people, like with a well-planned vegan diet, you can be like perfectly healthy. And there's no reason, there's nothing you're gonna need or that you require from getting.
How do you feel about animals that are carnivores?
Well, they're totally justified in being carnivores because like they have to do that to survive, right? So just like the point that you just made there, like for a carnivorous animal like a lion or something that has to eat meat, it can't go and eat plants. Like of course it's justified in killing other animals. That isn't actually the case for humans, right? Because
okay.
like
So the problem that I would have with this argument, I kind of see where you're going. So you'll allow some people to kill other creatures to live if they have to. And then others, if you're like omnivore, you can make eating vegetables and whatnot an option, then you have to pick that because we want to reduce harm. But I think that have to is where the question is, because you could probably put a cat or a dog on a vegan diet, but they're not going to be very happy. You could probably keep them alive, but their quality of life is going to be pretty damn low, right?
Well, I mean, a cat, like, that's an interesting question. So, like, I've looked into this specifically, and, like, I would not recommend anyone puts a cat on a vegan diet. I'm pretty sure cats are obligate carnivores, and if you try to put on a vegan diet, like, they're going to have, like, health issues. They're probably going to die. Like, with dogs, you can actually feed dogs a vegan diet. Like, there's plenty of, like, vegan dog foods out there. Dogs can do perfectly fine on it. You know, obviously, whether they like it, whether they would prefer meat, you know, it's unlikely you're going to get a dog that's gonna, you know, for instance, love it so much that if you put a piece of steak in front of them, they're like, oh no, I'm happy with the plants. Like, you're not going to turn it, like, ideologically vegan, but you could keep a dog totally healthy on a vegan diet. And, you know, it's been done. Like, most vegans, if they've got dogs, we'll have them vegan. If they've got cats, we'll not have them vegan because cats are obligate carnivores.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I feel like since the dawn of time, humans have been partaking in this natural cycle with animals of hunting, eating, killing. I agree that, like, factory farming, I think, is not natural.
Yeah, we
it's
can agree with that.
horrible. The way that we're treating animals. I will always, this is something I can attest to, I'll always buy free-range eggs. I don't want to eat some depressed-ass chicken eggs, you know? I don't want to be eating depressed meat either.
Yeah.
If I could just have happy, healthy animals that we hunted in our own community, you know, good shot, they don't suffer, they get to live a full life, I think that is ideal. But I still do think the idea of eating meat and having that a part of our diet has been something humans have done since the dawn of time, and we have developed to do that. Our teeth, our bodies, our bones, all of this has developed for hunting to be part of this natural cycle. And to change that because of this non-aggression principle that no other creature within the natural cycle adheres to, I think is odd. And it's like, we're trying to, I feel like so many people are trying to become more than what we actually are. It's kind of like the same with the gender stuff. Like, I can bend my gender. I can be a man. I can be a woman. I can be beyond what humans are naturally.
But the difference is with that kind of stuff, right, is that, like, if you try to not be your gender, you have to have some kind of physical intervention to do it. Like, you know, you're chopping off your genitals, or you're having, like, breasts implanted, or you're taking hormones.
Veganism a physical
but why?
change
What change are you actually doing?
It's
changing the diet.
If I don't eat meat, my whole body changes. My whole mood. I literally have lower energy.
You just said that you'd never tried a vegan diet, so, like, how do you know?
No, but I'm saying when I reduce my meat intake, when I eat more steak.
Sure, but this is all a matter of, like, learning what your diet is, right? So, like, you know, most people, when they first, like, decide to go vegan, they've got to learn a little bit about their nutrition and, like, what they need to actually take in to kind of replace that. But, like, most people, like, will find that they can kind of stay vegan if you stick with it and you kind of, like, just experiment a little bit with what it is. The difference, though, with this kind of stuff you're talking about, and I take the point, and I know that there is kind of a suspicion that veganism is all part of this kind of transhumanist thing, and it's like, no, you know, we've got to go back to our nature, and that's what our nature's doing. But actually, like, for most people, like, when I went vegan, I understand that some people have some issues with it. When I went vegan, literally nothing changed. I didn't get bigger, I didn't get smaller, nothing changed. You know, I probably just needed to eat.
You did get a man bun, though.
I got a man bun, yeah. Actually, I think I had the man bun first.
Really? So did the man bun make you a vegan, or did being vegan bring the man bun?
I mean, they just kind of go together, you know? You get accepted into that community. Being like a right-wing vegan, you got to do something. You got to throw him a bone.
Oh my gosh. I want to tell you the story of when I first shot an animal. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to. I was actually kind of leaning more towards your...
You were almost a vegan.
I was leaning towards your horrific, disgusting...
This YouTube channel, right? This could have been you just being like, hey guys, today I'm eating my acai bowl. But it's not.
I like acai bowls anyways. So
yeah,
there's
you
that.
do.
Yeah. We ate them.
But that could have been
Texas.
you. That could have been you.
Could have been. Oh, horrific. But no, I was in South Africa and I was offered a chance to kill I think it was called a bliss buck or something. It's like a little gazelle thing, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I'm against trophy hunting. Like, I will not do that.
Oh, it was a trophy hunt. It
wasn't. I just assumed it was, right? I'm like, that's just a beautiful animal. I don't want to kill it. And they were so offended. They were like, what are you talking about? This is like a great honor. And not only is it a great honor, but you're going to be helping the community, because what's happened is because of real trophy hunters, natural predators have been killed off in this area. So the population of a lot of these, grass grazing animals and everything has just blown up. And what happens is they'll eat all of the grass and all of the food and all the water, and their population blows up, and then they all starve to death. And there's this mass horrific event where they all just will die if their population isn't culled. And also the marsupials and everything, they'll all die off, and it'll just send the whole thing out of whack. So we have to cull this population to reduce harm. So in a sense, and then they're also okay, and also the meat is used to feed the local community here that have troubles with nutrition and getting enough food. So it's I look at that and I'm that whole process is harm reduction.
Well, I mean, the fact is, the reason that you have these issues with overpopulation in the first place is normally because people have gone in and they've hunted all of the predators in the first place, and that's why you then throw things out of balance. So hunting caused the problem in the first place, and I don't think that sustaining hunting forever and saying, okay, well, we've got to hunt forever now because we've now got to continue to solve the problem we've caused eternally.
Yeah, but objectively, more hunting does solve it. Objectively,
right? But my answer to a problem like that, if you've basically killed off all the predators and you've got a situation where you have a population which doesn't have a natural predator, it's to reintroduce
the humans are the predators we've reintroduced, and we allow ourselves to get more food and nutrients in the process in a way that reduces harm.
Sure, but again, my ethical framework is such that humans, because we don't need to hunt in the first place, and we can actually just sustain ourselves and be perfectly healthy from not killing, that reintroducing the predators and having that ecosystem balance out naturally according to the natural world, i.e. before we went in there and hunted the predators to extinction in the first place, is a better way of dealing with that problem.
But we are a part of the natural world. We are animals ourselves partaking as predators in this environment, and we are the reintroduced natural predators that are rebalancing things.
Okay, but here's something to think about, because you said before about the idea that veganism is kind of unnatural and it's a diversion from our natural way of doing things. But I would say when you see humans going out and hunting, we're not talking about kind of going in and saying, okay, we've got these big claws and these big teeth, we're going to go and chase down an animal. You're going in there with camouflage, you're going in there with guns that shoot very high range, you're putting your eye to a scope so you can see an animal. All of this stuff is not anything when you have a wolf or something that's actually just...
Yes, but you know what? Guess which one reduces more harm? Would you rather be shot in the head or mauled to death slowly by a grizzly bear?
Well, I mean, would I rather be... Yeah, probably would rather be shot to death. But, you're assuming as well, first of all, that humans are just going to make a straight shot and it's going to immediately kill an animal, which, that might happen sometimes, but...
A good hunter will. I did miss my first shot when I killed mine, and we had to search for hours and hours. It was horrible.
Yes, exactly, right?
Well, I didn't miss it. I was actually very, very close. But yeah, it was...
But again, I don't spend too much time kind of saying, okay, well, if a bear... what a bear does or whatever. I don't think that I think we're living in a kind of different realm of moral responsibility. What humans do, we shouldn't look at what animals do and say, okay, well, we should do this or that. For me as a human, I say, okay, don't kill unless it's absolutely necessary, for instance, for self-defense or something like that. For animals, they are in the animal world, they are obligate carnivores, some of them, obviously not all of them. If they need to maul something, then that's part of their moral framework according to the necessity of that species, but it's not part of ours. So I treat them as two completely separate issues, basically.
Well, I fully disagree with you and shall continue to eat my bacon. But...
I know. And you will continue to eat your pancakes, and I will continue to have to go elsewhere.
I do respect the fact that, unlike a lot of vegans out there, I don't see you, I don't know, partaking in eco-terrorism, trying to burn down, farming houses.
Yeah, and one more thing as well, on the whole, eating fake meats and stuff like that, because I know this is a big thing. It's
it looks disgusting.
It does, and it's not healthy stuff, right? It's not that I'll never eat a Beyond Burger or an Impossible Burger. Normally it's kind of a last. I know, but that's because you go to these places, right? But ideally, you don't have to eat that stuff, and I wouldn't recommend that people do. There's plenty of you can eat a whole food plant-based diet, and it's perfectly good. So we can agree on being against all of this stuff, and especially the bugs, right? Vegans are going to be the first. Vegans are going to be on that front line saying no, we shouldn't be eating the bugs. There's a lot of things that we can align on.
This was really interesting. We were talking about this the other day, and I was like, you just want us New World Order to eat the bugs. And he's like, absolutely not. He's like, that's so weird. What did you say? You were like, I actually think the New World Order want more suffering.
Yeah. That's a good point.
They want to commit like a genocide because how many bugs would you have to kill to make one hamburger?
Exactly, yeah. Like imagine how many crickets you would have to replace a cow. So like if it's between the bugs and a cow, I'd say the cow's the more ethical choice. But obviously if you've got the third option there of saying, killing neither of those things, neither killing 10,000 bugs or a cow, that's the most ethical option, right?
Interesting. Oh, this is also like potentially a very, are you pro-life?
Yeah, I actually,
because like
this
to
question,
me,
I'd say I pretty much am.
If you think a bug is like sentient enough to not hurt, wouldn't a fetus be sentient
this is
enough?
a good question. I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I had a big argument with a vegan he's like an academic and he's really, he's basically kind of like pro-choice, but he's an ardent vegan. And I do see that there is some hypocrisy between those two ideas, right? So like, I would say that I'm pro-life. However, I think that I don't think that at the point of conception, something is sentient enough for us to necessarily kind of ascribe it rights. But I think that it's probably very, very early on, way earlier on than probably most of mainstream science thinks. Like it's probably a matter of days, But I don't know. I could be convinced on that. I think that I have a lot of respect or kind of like appreciation for the pro-life arguments. And I actually think that pro-lifers and vegans have a lot more in common than they would necessarily admit. Yeah.
Well, Johnny, I have to tell you, out of all of the mental disorders of progressivism, I respect yours the most.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. What a glowing report.
You do a podcast. Where can people go and find your little rants and bants?
My podcast is called the Staying Free Podcast. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on all those kind of places. The Twitter handle for that is Staying Free Pod. So yeah, go check it out. I haven't actually done an episode on veganism. Most of the stuff is on libertarianism and ethics and philosophy and that kind of stuff. So, your audience will probably like it. I will sneak a vegan episode in there at some point, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. For the most part, I decided to, grill him on the one thing that we'd have the most disagreement on. But for the most part, he's a pretty cool libertarian dude. It's all right. It's all right. He's done good work on this film. I'll put all the links to his channel down below in the description. What's your Twitter, by the way? Isn't it?
Johnny Hodl.
Johnny Hodl.
Yeah.
As in like hodl Bitcoin.
Hodl is like Bitcoin, yeah. I'm also a Bitcoiner, which is another thing we could talk about. But
literally every libertarian stereotype possible, just put him to the extreme. But anyways, this was fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you, be willing to talk about this. And, we have a lot, like you said, we have a lot of common ground and we can disagree on some areas. So.
Absolutely. All right. Have a good one, everybody, and thanks for tuning in.